Okay, here we go. I'm in my garage. I'm going to be doing a little bit of sets of shoulders while I'm at it here. So, what's going on there, Nikos? Yeah, how's it going, guys? I'm going to do a few sets in between Q&A just for something different anyway. I'm just in my garage today, so I thought maybe just doing something different might be good to change things up, you know? Shake it up, you know? Cool. Right, it's like Alfred Hitchcock theater, right? You know how he had his back? I don't know if you guys are old enough to even understand that reference, but Alfred Hitchcock always had his back to the camera, and then it would zoom in, and then he'd come, and then he'd turn around. Hello, welcome to the theater. So here's bodybuilding theater. How you doing, Tim? Yeah, nice to see you guys. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing some shoulder presses here on my rack here. Now this incline bench goes up a little higher, but the problem is it goes up straight up, and then your head can't kind of lean back a bit, so kind of impedes a little bit of the shoulder thing. So I like to have it back a little bit like this, so that way it's perfect for the shoulders, right? So I'm just gonna tune into you guys' chat here. Hey, Francesco. I'm gonna call you Francesco. Okay. Yeah, thanks. No, I'm actually eating more carbs. I'm not paying attention to my diet as much as I'm trying not to bulk, but I'm not trying to cut either. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just basically trying to eat to make sure that I have the energy for my workouts, and I'm just making sure that I keep on putting on some strength. And you know, lately I've been touching my chest when it comes down to bench press and stuff, just for something different, right? Because sometimes just shocking the system is just enough to get something to grow in a different way. So yeah, it's always like breaking your own rules. That's why I did that video a little while ago about saying to break your own rules, because sometimes your rules can hinder you too. So you always want to be experimenting with what's working for you right now. Okay. How you doing there, Tim? I'm doing pretty good. Nikos, I'm doing, that's 135 pounds. So I guess that's around 60 something kilograms or something. Each plate is about, well, it's a standard 45 pound plate, right? Do I even lift, bro? Yeah, Tim? Yeah, thanks, buddy. Hey, you know what? Guys, when you give me some negativity joking around, I always take it seriously. You know why? Because I get so much negativity on YouTube all the time that I never know when somebody's being sarcastic or not. So I just assume that everybody hates me because that's just the way YouTube is. so, but I know you're joking, Tim. So, but thanks for saying just kidding, because you never know, right? I never know on here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Francesco, what's the purpose of all these trainings? It's like I'm preparing for something. I'm getting prepared for YouTube, really. I'm getting prepared to show you guys how to have a connection to the physical body and make results and make gains without following dogmatic type teaching. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm basically helping people in a way that is freeing them from drug addiction, freeing them from emotional pain around how they feel about themselves. And at the same time, I like training too, so it's a way of me sharing a passion that I have as well. So this YouTube channel and the training programs and music and all that, it's all about just you feeling better about this whole process and about you being happier. Honestly, that's really what this channel is about. It's not about making everybody into Arnold, although that might happen. Maybe all of you guys are going to look better than Arnold. I don't know. But it's how you feel that's the most important thing. So I'm just trusting in the fact that if I can help people feel better, that will automatically lead to a bigger and better life for a lot of people. And if I live in a neighborhood full of happy people, it's a much happier life for me. I'll tell you that, you know. What's going on there, David? Not Grainer? Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to do some sets in between. Yeah, thanks, Francesc. Yeah, no, it's nice. And let me know, how do I say your name? How do I say your name? Francescu? I know, Francesc who? Or Hugh? Or how do I say it? I want to know how to say it. Okay, high carb muscle. Would you recommend one lighter day with training 3 times a week, full body? Yeah, for sure. I would definitely recommend one lighter day. But, you know, if not 2, depending on how you're responding, what's going on with your body. You can go heavy too often. And what I mean by heavy, like 5 to 7 reps, you can definitely overdo that really quick. So you want to do it here and there, but you don't want to do it so much that you're just straining the joints and doing something like overkilling, you know? Because like I say, there's a bunch of tension you want to put on the muscle, you want to stretch the muscle, you want to do all that. But if you do it too much, then you tear a muscle and then you pull a muscle or you just get injured all the time. So it's about enough stimulus to create the growth, but it's not about overkill. And the light weights really help you heal, as well as there's a synergistic effect between light weights and heavy weights. When you do them together, you get a lot more results, right? Okay, David Not Grainer saying, can you overload the joints? You can overload the joints by overstretching them. That's the fastest way to overload a joint. Overstretch it under tension, and that's the fastest way to do it. Yeah. Blood Wolf, how's it going? What workout am I doing? I'm just doing a little bit of shoulders right now while I'm talking to you guys. I may go to the gym later on, do some chest, back, and legs. I just am really enjoying that lately. But right now I'm just going to get some shoulder training in, maybe a little bicep stuff as I talk to you guys, you know. Rashad Vajane, it's 3:30 a.m. where he is. His parents think he's studying. That's funny. You are studying. You're studying bodybuilding. Hopefully how to be a nice guy. Hopefully. But I don't know if you'll learn. Well, the people that are here now, maybe you'll learn from them. If you're a nice guy already, maybe you don't need to learn. But hey, Adam, how you doing? Wales in the UK. Nice to have you here. Wales in the UK. Flex is from there. He's from Wales, right? Isn't Flex from Wales? The new Flex, the Flex, what's his last name again? Jeez, I can't believe it's slipping my mind. Anyway, I met him at the BC Bodybuilding show about a year ago. Super nice guy, really nice guy. Oh, Francesque, where can you get one? Oh, just on my website. If you just go on my website, if you want to get any of these shirts, like, you know, train the muscles, not the joint shirts, they're on my website under merchandise or clothing, right? You just click one of the tabs. There's one under services and there's clothing and everything. You can just look on my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and I have t-shirts there, along with training programs and music and stuff you guys can purchase if you want. Yeah, Flex Lewis. Yeah, Flex Lewis is a super nice guy. I can't say enough good things about him. What a nice dude he is. Chase Taylor, how's it going there, buddy? I've been following you on Facebook. Man, it's nice to see your positivity on here because, boy, do you get pissed off on Facebook from time to time. So anyway, what do I think about box bench squats? So using the bench instead of the box. For squats or bench, I don't use box squats or anything. I think it's kind of, it's good probably as a parameter to get somebody to learn how to push off of their butt when they're training and to sit back with the ass. It's a good way to instruct them in that, to not push off the knees, because most beginners want to push off their knees because that's easier. That's what they're used to doing, but that's not the most ideal way to push, because that'll put more stress on the knees than is necessary, and you won't have the same amount of strength because you're not activating the hamstrings as strongly. So the box squat is good for that, but once you get the training technique down, I wouldn't do it. I mean, a lot of times I think strongmen and stuff do it because they're trying to get a certain depth in their squat, and they want to make sure that they're not fooling themselves and that they're always hitting that depth. But if you're training for bodybuilding, there's really no reason for it. I find following your feeling is more important. Stretching as much as you can, stretching the muscle as much as you can, but not the joint. And that will be different for each person. And the funny thing is, one guy that can hit a box with his butt, it will be totally different than another person. One guy's 6 feet tall, another one's 5'8". The box won't apply to them. You know what I'm saying? You have to get a different size box. And third, the reason why I don't want to do it is because if you're with a lot of weight on your spine, and then all of a sudden you have a sudden stop, like say you're not aware where the box is, and all of a sudden you have a sudden stop, you could actually compress your spine a bit or herniate a disc. So I think it's more dangerous in some ways, right? Rudy Espinoza, full body hypertrophy routine. That's his question. I don't know what the question is, but okay. Can you hit the box with your butt? Well, you could, but I wouldn't recommend hitting the box with your butt. I mean, if I hammer you right in the tailbone when you're doing squats and stuff with all the compression on the spine, it's probably not very good for it, actually. I think you might compress a disc or something. Crimestein, why do I train shoulders and triceps after my upper body day? Why wouldn't I? Because I don't do it upper body day. I do a chest, back, and bis day, or I do chest, back, and legs. There's no rules. See, a lot of people think there's a certain rule where they have to train a body part and then not train it again for 3 days or 2 days, and I'm going to say bullshit on that. And what I found was that I find the lower volume workouts with higher intensity seem to work better more frequently for getting better gains in a lot of cases. So there isn't this rule. It's not as concrete as people think. It's more about what's happening in our body and responding to it. And what I found by listening to my body, that my body responds better with higher frequency and not worrying so much about, oh, I got to get a PR every day. Because like I said, I said this in one of my videos before, when I was in karate years ago and I was throwing lots of kicks and stuff like that, and I was doing squats in the gym before I go to karate, the karate instructor would be like, oh, Jason, you're a little tight today. Better stop those squats. But then the next day, when I was a little bit recovered from the squat workout, and then I went in a karate tournament, my legs were like lightning. They were so fast, right? So what I'm trying to say to you is that just because you're not at your peak performance when you're training doesn't mean the training isn't working. And I think a lot of people mix that up. They go into their training and say, oh my God, I gotta perform at my best. I always have to have the highest amount of reps in my workout and stuff. Otherwise, I'm not working the body. But I'm saying as long as you're pushing the body and the joints aren't hurting and stuff, you're actually pushing and you're hitting failure or close to failure, you're going to adapt and the body will adapt. And you're better off being a little bit sore, a little bit unrecovered than fully recovered for too long and then going backward. You know what I'm saying? Like, and an example of this is try fully recovering by doing one workout a month. Okay, so by the time 29 days goes by or whatever, you're fully recovered. But does that mean your workout is going to be better the next time you go in? No. So there is an ideal time between workouts. And I find when you're a little bit sore, that's a good sign. Just a tiny bit tight or sore in that area. Not too much, just a little bit. That seems to be the ideal time to hit that muscle group again. Nikos, I've been bodybuilding for about 30 years. I started in my garage because my dad was a champion powerlifter at the time. He was a policeman and he was, he was 8th strongest in the world in his weight class, so he got me into it at an early age. 14 was when I started, but I actually had lifted on and off since the time I was 4 years old, 5 years old, just messing around with the weights because Dad was in the gym and I'd just be playing around with weights, right? Yeah. Yahoo bathwater. I have 2 cats. Yeah. Can I show you around? Probably not, Francesc. I'll maybe get around to that, but it's like I said, I'm trying to kind of, keep this channel more about bodybuilding, right? But yeah, it's okay. So David Grainer. Okay. Yeah, David, not Grainer. If you want me to answer your questions for sure right away, you give me a super chat. Don't be cheap, okay? If you want to be rude here, okay? But if you want me to answer your questions, first of all, you have to understand that I'm doing this as a service to you, okay? So, okay, good. Okay, thanks, great. Why do I laugh so ugly? Because I am ugly, David. So what do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it, David? How do I change it? How do I change it? You don't have a profile picture, but I would be nice enough not to make fun of you. But if you're going to say things like that, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, good, great, David. Okay, you don't really want to interact on any sort of real mature level here. So what's the point? Yeah. Bye bye, little prick. Anyway, okay. Let me see here. Who else here is saying something relevant here? Tina Lang, how can women bodybuild without developing broad shoulders? You won't develop broad shoulders. If you're a natural bodybuilder, you will just develop leaner, tighter shoulders. I trained a lot of women, and the women actually just look good when they train. They don't actually get big and bulky like those, the drug ones, basically, okay? So as long as you're a natural person, you won't develop that kind of problem. So let me just do a set here. I'm gonna do a set here. All right. Okay, so Landon W is saying he switched from a bro split a month ago and going to upper body days. Just wondering what I think about that. The upper lower split is fine. I mean, I like all splits, to tell you the truth. It's just whatever works for you at the time. Each split will work different muscle fibers. Each split will hit different parts of the muscle. So It's good to change up your programs all the time. Just test it out, see which one works, not test it out, but test it out. And see, so I'm out of breath in between sets here. I just had a sandwich. That's why I don't eat carbs before my workout, because carbs and fat, that is, because there was a bit of fat on that sandwich. Anyway, the bottom line is that you want to make sure that you are trying different splits, because you will notice different results from different splits. Okay, so there's no perfect split, just so you know. But that said, an upper and lower split I like, because if you do upper body one day, lower body the next, and then you train 4 or 5 days a week, you're going to get more frequency in. And you can do a little bit less volume because you're getting more frequency in, but overall you'll get the same volume for the week, but the volume's going to be much more power oriented. And what I mean by this is that you have the most strength in the first 5, 6 sets of a workout. After that it becomes more endurance oriented, right? Because you're losing the reps and stuff. So I find that if you work on that sweet spot of the first 6 or so sets, you seem to get more results. Okay, I don't know what Nikos is saying. Why don't you listen to using while you are bodybuilding? Oh, music. Because I don't want to get a copyright strike on YouTube here, so I can't do that, Nikos. Otherwise I would. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of somebody here. Yeah, so, okay. Okay, so Deathblade GR is saying, would you say is it worth it being shredded during the summer because of basically all the stuff you have to miss out on in the summer? I think it's worth it taking care of your health no matter what. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. So a lot of times people get fixated on trying to be 4% body fat or something like that. I never understood that, because if you're 8% or 4% or 10%, you still look good. I wouldn't worry so much about being lean and being so shredded all the time. I mean, what makes you happy? Like, what are you happy doing? That's what I'd say. But your lifestyle of fun should not be so out of your lifestyle of health. So I think that some people have this war going on. They're like alcoholics, and at the same time they want to be natural bodybuilders, right? Get rid of the alcoholism. That will do nothing but positivity for you. You know, you don't have to party by getting drunk all the time. You know, you can learn how to have fun with your life without getting inebriated, you know what I mean? Although that might seem weird depending on what kind of culture you grew up in and everything, but the fact is that natural bodybuilding is about a lifestyle choice, and it's about saying my health is more important. That's my party, not, you know, having to have fun by getting drunk or eating all the wrong foods or whatever, and then I train and I've got this polarity going on in my life, right? So I think you're better off. You're better off. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so you're better off taking care of your health. Okay, you're better off taking care of your health. And is it worth it? Well, that's a personal choice. Is it worth it for you to do that? I mean, not everybody thinks it's worth it, but I think it's worth it. I mean, I'm, you know, sitting here still in shape many years later, and I knew a lot of guys that were going to the bar all the time, and they never could get gains when they're going to the gym because they had this back and forth thing where they train 5 days a week and then party their ass off Friday to Saturday night, and then come back to the gym, be serious again, but they'd always be stagnant or plateaued because their body was taking the repercussion of all that partying. So yeah, I'd say clean up the partying. That's worth it for sure, 100%. You don't need to destroy your health in order to have a good time, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry, Deathblade. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm preaching here. I'm not really trying to do that. I'm just saying that you're allowed to be happy without having to rely on, you know, destroying yourself just because other people are doing it. That's kind of the thing, you know, you're kind of being a little bit of a leader in your own pack when you decide to take care of your health, because a lot of people, if you look around, they don't make their health a priority. They make what other people think of them a priority, you know? And so you got to make your own health and your own good feeling a priority, and then the only way to sustain that good health is to take care of your health. The only way to sustain that feeling is to take care of the thing that helps the feeling, which is your health, you know? So yeah, you don't want to do the deal with the devil. If you have to trade your health in order to have a good time, there's something wrong with that, you know? That's what I feel anyway. Matos Dovel, ABC 2 times training. I don't know who that is or anything, so yeah, great, Deathblade. Yeah, I'm happy I could help you out a little bit. I know it's hard because a lot of times people get pulled into what other people are doing, and I understand. I'm not saying you have to eat shredded all the time. You don't have to eat low carb all the time. I mean, I understand you want to have some ice cream here and there, whatever. Hey, you know what? It's summertime. You can have fun that way. But I get the feeling from you that you're talking about something even more extreme, you know, and that's yeah, I think you're better off just paying attention to your body, taking care of that. Yeah. Landon W, if you work out at 6 a.m. and you're asking what a pre-workout meal would be, you go to the gym immediately within 15 minutes of waking up. Well, if you're gonna go to the gym within 15 minutes, I'd say just some straight protein or protein powder, maybe just a chicken breast or something. You probably wouldn't want to have a lot of carbs or a lot of fat at that time of the morning. But if you're gonna do that, don't combine the carbs and the fat together, because that'll make you want to puke your guts up if you're going to the gym within 15 minutes. So what I'd recommend is a chicken breast or half a chicken breast or something, and maybe some hot sauce or something, or maybe a tiny bit of carbs and a chicken breast, maybe some oatmeal and egg whites, just a quick little thing stirred together. Maybe that'll help sustain you through your workout. You have to go on how you feel, right? Some people, if they eat before they work out, they get really sick. Other people, if they don't eat before they work out, their blood sugar is going up and down. So first you have to decide which guy are you. And if you're a guy that can train and it doesn't bother you, then I just go with a coffee, just go train and then come back and eat a big meal after. You know, you can do that too. Maybe drink some branched chain amino acids if you want. Okay, I gotta do a set here. I'm gonna have to wait. 185. This is not my normal rest in between sets, by the way. I usually rest a minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that, but. All right, we're going. Good. Feels good. I have a garage open right now. I'll just show you right here. So you can see garage. I live in a around. I didn't count. Thanks for counting there, Nicholas. I didn't actually count how many I got. Yeah, so I got around 20, something with 185 on shoulder press. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really nice outside. I got the garage door open so I get this nice wind in here. It's really nice, you know. Okay, we'll talk about other things besides bodybuilding. Okay, Deathblade. I like it, Ben. You're a deep dude. You're a deep dude, man. So, okay, great. We'll have real conversations here. I like this. Okay, so you're saying if you're 20 and not satisfied with your life, is it a logical idea to move where you want to if you financially can? Of course. Well, first of all, you have to decide, why are you not happy? Is it just because you're surrounded by a bunch of jerks, or is it because you're just not happy no matter where you are, you know? Hey, Tommy, how you doing, buddy? Beautiful. I love Finland. Yeah. So you have to really decide why you're not happy. And I think that when you make decisions based on misery, it can be kind of a tricky thing, because sometimes the misery is created by you, the way you think about things, the way you reject things. Okay, Francis, the reason why he's asking these types of questions on a bodybuilding channel is because, Nicholas. Yeah, okay, Nicholas, I know you're tired, but hey, I'm doing sets, man. This is a part of the live thing when I'm doing sets. So anyway, if you're doing things in life because you're miserable and you don't know the source of your misery, then it can lead to some problems. And this is the same thing with workout programs. I see people feel insecure about themselves all the time. Okay, so we'll turn this around, Francesca. We'll turn this around to bodybuilding here. And some people will make a decision based on their own insecurity about how they should train instead of how they should really train. And if you make these decisions based on your own insecurity, that's a type of suffering that's driving the choice. And that's not really free will, and it's not really wisdom, okay? So once you know why you are doing something, then you can decide whether it's a wiser choice or not. Now, if you're naturally a happier person, but you feel like there's this movement of freedom that just feels like it needs to be somewhere different, something different matches more your energy or who you are, then I would agree, then move if you can. You know, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with exploring and trying new things and discovering what makes you happy, right? But you don't want to be doing stuff because you're just rejecting things. Because, you know, I mean, I think we all go through this in life where you just are pissed off at a certain situation or sick of something. and then you react, but react too strongly, and sometimes you end up in a worse situation than before, right? So I'd say if you're happy doing it, if you're feeling like you just need a change, but it's not an overwhelming resistance to what's before you, perhaps you're more in alignment with your own wisdom at that point, right? I always recommend people meditating and becoming more self-aware. If you're more self-aware, then you will know what governs you. And when you know what governs you, you can start to make decisions from the place that's truth instead of your own suffering, right? Okay, so Francesc Hugh. Okay. Yeah, Nikos, no problem there. Okay. See you, Nikos. Have a good night, eh? Okay, Francesc. Is there anything other than bodybuilding you are doing except music, of course? What do you mean, like creatively? Francesc, are you talking from a creative point of view, or what are you talking about? Okay, Big Daddy Barbecue, what's my difference between the 2-day and 3-day splits? Well, besides the obvious, the 2-day or the 3-day. Basically, a 2-day split is when you split the body into 2 different days, and then you repeat that throughout the week. So basically, you'll train 5 or 6 days a week, and then you'll get the body in more often. You'll get the body parts in more often, but of course, because of this, you have to do less volume per workout. But it does have a different effect on the body than, say, doing a 3-day split where you do more volume, more sets, more volume basically through sets, right? So you might do 12 sets or 13 sets or 10 sets or whatever for a body part. And then you only hit that body part twice in a week because you still do 3 days in a row and then another, well, basically you train 5 to 6 days in a row, but you're rotating the body through 3 days, right? So that's the major difference between the 2-day split and the 3-day split. Francesc Q, anything like a job or other hobbies? Well, I write. I wrote a book, so I sold that online and everything. I work with people through meditation, and so I do sessions with people that way. And I used to run group meditations and stuff at an office that we had when we were living in the other community. So yeah, that's mainly what I do. I do that kind of stuff, and then I used to play a lot of hockey, but I don't do that anymore. Yeah. Perry B, what are my thoughts about neuroticism in training? Do you think it's a positive thing to obsess about every aspect of your training if it pushes you further? No, I don't think it does, because neuroticism comes from the mind. It doesn't come from the heart. And not to talk from a flaky point of view, I'm not talking emotional heart here. What I'm talking about is that when you are paying attention to what's happening, like say I flex my bicep and I can feel the bicep flexing, I can feel what's happening, I can feel whether there's good pain in there, bad pain, that has nothing to do with neuroticism. It has to do with experiencing. So if your neuroticism is leading you to experiencing more deeply, experiencing things more deeply, and then making decisions from there, then I would say it could be a positive thing. But neuroticism is never really a good thing when you say, I have a vision of what I have to achieve, otherwise I'm a failure, and then there's this constant obsession going on. Yeah, you might be able to achieve a goal that way, but you'll never be happy. So what's the point of achieving a goal if you're still miserable at the end of it? You know what I'm saying? It's like the Midas touch. You have a world full of gold around you, but it's totally lonely and not happy. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I would just recommend that you learn how to respond to the body. You have goals in mind, but you're not attached to those goals. You're open to the body showing you the way that is perfect for you, and have fun building the muscle. Hey, I love building muscle. Don't get me wrong, I love building muscle. But you don't want to be suffering. Like I see so many guys do this. They're actually suffering. They're in the gym and they're fucking miserable. They're so miserable because they don't look like they think they should, or they're not at the place they should be at. And that's stupid, because half the fun of training is the growing and in the improving. And if you improve and you're enjoying the improvement, you have to start at a place where you are not the absolute. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the joy comes from. If you're already absolute, chances are you'd walk around looking like Mr. Olympia, and you'd probably be miserable because you're like, well, what who cares, right? I got biceps. And me, when I look, hey Thomas, and me when I looked at my best when I was competing and everything, and I remember looking in the mirror and saying, geez, I give it all up tomorrow, just be happy, because at that point in my life I was not happy. So happiness is the most important. That's the most important thing for you to reach for, fulfillment inside, and then everything else can stem from that. But yeah, so often neuroticism, you know, once you get neurotic about something, it means that you're actually in suffering because something isn't the way you think it should be. And that means 99% of your life is going to be hell for you because it's never meeting up to your expectation. So if you let go of your expectation and now enjoy the process, then it becomes very fun. Then you become receptive to what's happening, and then you respond, but you're not basically pissed off at everything that doesn't go your way, right? Yeah. I hope that helps you a little bit anyway. Okay, so Luciano was saying, Jason, what do you think about limits? Do you feel you have reached it? No, I don't think I've reached my limits. Any limits that I have imposed upon me were because of the hockey injuries and stuff, but it wasn't because of physicality or life or any of that. Yeah, I don't think there are such thing as limits. There are such thing as priorities. And what people don't understand is that living every moment of your life to make sure that you look the best and be the best bodybuilder in the world is a different life than living a life of balance, right? And it just depends what you want. I'm not saying one way is wrong or one way is right, but if you're just obsessed about constantly making sure everything's perfect and everything's you're eating everything in sight to make sure you're growing muscle and all this kind of stuff, that's a different priority than say somebody that's saying, I want to be creative, I want to meditate, I want to enjoy my life and have a balanced relationship, balance everything. You know, there's a few different priorities involved there, right? So do I think I've reached my limits? No, and I'm pushing. You notice like I'm doing 4-plate squats, I'm lifting heavier weight, I'm trying to push myself, but at the same time, I'm enjoying the process, and that's the most important thing. Enjoyment has to be part of it. If it's not enjoyable, then what's the point, right? And the thing is I like about Murph's gym is that there's so many good people there at the gym that I'm training at right now. Like Champion was nice. Yeah, there's a plane going by. Yeah, see the funny thing is I live in Harrison Hot Springs, so this is a total summer resort town. So there's people riding by in those like four-person bikes and all this kind of stuff all day, and the beach is full of people and everything. So it's a really nice place to actually live now, right? So I'm glad we moved out here because you know that's where bodybuilders go. They go to the beach, right? Go to the beach. You know, you gotta go to the beach. So anyway, yeah, I enjoy training. I enjoy working out at Murph's gym because there's such positivity there, positive people. At Champion, when I was, you know, the other place I was at, it's kind of like the Champion, there was people that were kind of leaving the gym. There wasn't as many people in there anymore. And there were some pretty good people in there too, but there wasn't as many, you know. But Murph's gym's like totally alive. It's got like lots of active members, a lot of people coming and going, and really nice people. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I'm going to try to capture this on video. And so you guys can kind of get an idea of the feeling that's in the gym. But Adam, you know, he's got a pretty good sense of humor, and so does Kyle and stuff. So you'll get a real good idea from the way I interact with these people. They're pretty good. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to showing you guys that. Yeah, Landon W. The funny thing is he's saying a lot of people believe that I'm not natural and this and that. The problem is that whenever you achieve anything, there's always going to be people that believe that you cheated because they don't want to be accountable to putting in the work or the time, or they're jealous. You know, there's a lot of jealousy. I didn't realize how much jealousy I got hit with most of my life. Like when I was in my 20s and stuff, I was always dirt broke. I was always poor. I never had money, but I was always training hard and I had a good physique. And I was looking at these other guys that had a successful career or something, and I was like, oh man, you know, I wish I was those guys. Like, man, they're really successful. I didn't realize they were hating on me because somehow I had something they didn't have, right? It's only later on that I realized how much hate was actually coming at me, right? It's like I was constantly getting the curse from people, right? Hey, who died? Jason died just because you have biceps or something. But the thing is, everything's about priority, like I said. Everything is about priority. And the thing is that most people don't make bodybuilding the priority that I did. I made it a priority. I wasn't going to the bar. Drinking was not something I did. I did it once a year or something with my friends because I knew it would destroy my workouts. Where other guys I knew that would go to the gym for about 4 or 5 months or whatever, then they'd spend the whole summer partying and stuff, then they go back to the gym, then they look at me and say, oh geez, Jason, you must be not natural because you look better than I do. Well, listen, I look better than you because I put in the hour and a half every day, and I showed up to the gym 6 days a week. I didn't just take breaks because it was Christmas or something. I was training in my freaking garage on Christmas Day. I was training in my garage. This is the kind of dedication that it took, right? And most people don't have that dedication, so that's why they want to accuse anybody that has that type of dedication for 30 years that they must be cheating. But, well, that's because that's an easier thing to say than to say, oh, geez, I guess I should go to the gym 6 days a week and stick with it for 30 years, right? So, yeah, people believe what they want to believe, but they don't always believe the truth, and that's the problem. So you have to basically make priorities in what you want to achieve and then take steps towards that. And hopefully you could enjoy the process like I just talked about, instead of it just being, you know, a neurotic sort of endeavor, you know, saying I have to achieve this because then people will love me, you know, that kind of thing, because that'll never work out well. Because you can see how much hate I get on YouTube now, and my biceps are pretty big, but I get lots of hate. So obviously muscles don't lead to love because I haven't got a lot of it because of that on YouTube. So But yeah, does genetics play a role? Yes, it does. My brother is pretty big, as you guys have seen. He's big, he's strong. He's not lean right now, but he's big and strong, and he's got lots of muscle because he trained. He made it a priority. This is something that him and I did together. And yeah, genetics play a role for sure. My dad was a powerlifter, and I grew up around it. I started training. The first time I was doing bench presses with a bar was when I was 10 years old, repping out in the garage, right? And doing some chin-ups and stuff. And then I was in karate, always doing calisthenics like push-ups and sit-ups and kicks and low stance squatting and different stances and everything. So I was always involved in sports and hockey and stuff too. So yeah, that's it. Genetics do play a role, but I find the big thing that people misunderstand, and actually the very thing that people hate me for, is they say, oh, Jason, you got a better physique than I have, so you must be, cheating. But also they'll come and say, Jason, you're doing your exercises wrong, or you're not doing the squat right, or you're not doing the bent over row right, or something like that, right? Well, what if the very way that I'm performing the exercises is the reason why I have the physique that they don't have? Like I watched a guy on Instagram just today, okay, bragging about doing 5 plates on a machine row. And the guy's form was brutally horrible. I mean, if you want to work back, he did it the exact opposite way you should do it if you want to work back. But he's talking how much he loves to train back. I'm like, well, he's never trained back his whole life. He's pretending to train back. How he's doing it is like this. He has his arm like this, and he's just twisting the weight up, twisting the weight up. Now, that might work the rotatories in the spine, but he is not working the lats, not working the traps. He's not working the back at all. But then he's bragging about how much weight he can lift. Anybody can lift heavy weight doing that kind of crap. You know what I mean? But that's not basically how you hit the back. If you want to be a bodybuilder and grow the back, that's not how you do it. But because he's coming far with the bar, he's thinking, he's doing the lawnmower. He's thinking he's working the back. You're not working the back by doing the lawnmower. That's a different exercise. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, a lot of times people would say, Jason, you're doing stuff wrong, but at the same time, you have better results than me. So the only way they can really come up with some justification is to accuse me of cheating, rather than saying, oh, Jason's right about the way he's performing the exercise, because then that would mean they're wrong, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that maybe they haven't found the way that works for them, right? So. Okay, so hi, I'm currently benching 175 times 5. With a good plan, could I get the 225 times 5? Well, that's 50 pounds on your bench press in 6 months. It depends on whether you're new to training or not, Sam. If you're brand new to training, yeah, that's possible. It's possible. But I would say it's 50 pounds on your bench is quite a bit. If you can put 50 pounds on your bench in a year, you're doing pretty damn good, to tell you the truth. So, but if you're brand new to this, then sometimes, yeah, you can put on strength much faster because coordination is a bigger factor of why you don't have the strength yet, right? So. Yeah, says if I take too much rest in between sets. Yeah, when I'm doing these live chats, I definitely do. You're totally right, and I'm going to jump on the rack right now. So thanks, man. Thanks for being my personal trainer in this. Thank you. Okay, 185 for shoulder press. Let's see how many reps I can get this time. I had a lot of rest. I should be able to get more than last time, right? Okay. There we go. Paulo, that's funny. If I fart, it's okay. Do your best. Thanks, man. That's the kind of support I need. That's the kind of support I need. That unconditional love that will accept me for my ugliness and farting if possible. Who knows, right? Oh, that's funny. Some of you guys are pretty funny, I have to say. Yeah, Landon W., I can see the conversation that you guys are talking about here. You're talking about, doing the cheat method, which is, using substances to get immediate gains. But what you guys don't see is the tragedies that happen to so many people that do take the short route. Like, I knew guys that were champion bodybuilders. By the time they were 19 years old, they were winning the junior nationals. And 10 years later, their bodies are a mess. Half these guys, their hormones are all out of whack. They are tearing muscles left, right, and center. they're chronically depressed. All these things are going on. So honestly, it's not worth it. There's a lot of things that you don't know about that these guys deal with. That just if you want to train, if you really love training, you want to train the rest of your life. If you go that way, there's a very strong chance that you won't be training the rest of your life. Just so you know, hip replacements and all that other crap, right? Okay, so Big Daddy Barbecue. Sorry about that. I haven't answered your question yet. Which program is better for a newer bodybuilder? Okay. I would recommend a 3-day per week program. I have a 3-day per week program, whole body workout. That's a good one for a beginner bodybuilder to get your feet wet and give you lots of days off, rest, but at the same time push yourself pretty hard. So I'd recommend the A program, the 3-day per week A program. Now, if you want to get started, also the 2-day split A program is also good because it doesn't have super heavy weights, and it will give you a chance to actually learn and get coordinated with the exercises. So if you have 5 to 6 days a week to work out, you could go to the 2-day split A program after doing the 3-day per week whole body program. And that's what I would recommend anyway right now. Yeah. Okay, so Ryathor, sorry man, I'm not trying to skip you, buddy. It's just that the way this stuff scrolls, I wish you guys could kind of see from my perspective, then you'll know why sometimes I skip you guys. It's not on purpose, but okay, so Ryathor, what are you saying? Let me just go up here. What's Ryathor saying? Poor bastard. Ryathor, you've been tuning into all my live chats, so I'm not trying to ignore you because I know you're sharing my stuff, right? You're sharing my stuff, right? So if you're sharing my stuff, then I gotta help you out here. Okay, where are you? See how much I'm scrolling here, Ryathor, and I still haven't found you? You see this? You see this? This is why sometimes, okay, here you are, okay. Do you think it's a good practice to do protracting muscles like chest, triceps, and retracting muscles like back and bis on my 3-day splits? Okay. I never, I did that here and there, but one thing I liked better was chest and bis and back and tris, and here's the reason. And I'm not saying this is right, but this is why I liked it more, was that after I did back training, I noticed that my forearms would be dead, okay? So because my forearms were dead, whenever I was going to do barbell curls or dumbbell curls and stuff like that, sometimes the forearms would be given out long before the bicep would. And I wanted the biceps to give out. That's why I'm training biceps, right? So I found that when I did chest and then went to biceps, then my forearms didn't become the weak link, then the bicep was the weak link. Now with back training, once again, the biceps also are getting worked quite a bit on back, and same with the forearms. So I found that I could really get a really good workout with the triceps when I trained back first. It also felt good to stretch and then do the triceps as well and everything. So anyway, I really like that. Pet peeves. Chase Taylor saying pet peeves. What's he saying? Hey, Jericanto. How you doing? Okay. Ryathor, I hope that helped you out a little bit. Sorry, I missed you so many times. Oh, okay, so Chase Taylor. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're asking me what my gym pet peeves are. Okay. My gym pet peeve is when people drop the dumbbells. Now, the reason why is because a lot of guys don't realize that they see, some cool, Mr. Olympia dude drop big dumbbells and stuff, and they think, oh, wow, this is how you become alpha, right? You drop the dumbbells. But the problem is those things become fucking bent. Like, when the dumbbell hits the ground like this, then it gets bent sideways, and then when you go to lift that thing off the rack, not only does it not fit on the rack sometimes after people do that to them, but sometimes they get loose and fall apart, which is extremely dangerous sometimes when you're doing heavy bench presses above your chin or your face or something, and then you get a plate drop on your head. But at the same time, I find it just wrecks the dumbbell, so I can't stand that. Yeah. The other thing I can't stand in the gym is guys that walk around, the gangster type. I can't stand those types. The guys that walk around, they gotta, I'm not, again, I don't want to say anything too much because people misunderstand what I'm saying, but the guys that walk around with a certain attitude, and sometimes certain clothing or certain types of appearance go with that, but that's not always the truth, right? Sometimes it's just the type of attitude where people are using the gym to pretend that they are something other than they are not. And I'm not gonna lie, the unnatural guys, not all unnatural guys, but a lot of the unnatural guys, they piss me off most of the time because they are, usually let's call them the seasonal trainers, where they jump in the gym for 3 months and get a new tattoo or something, and they got an arm vein, and then all of a sudden they're king shit, right? I can't stand that type of person. And unfortunately at the other gym I used to train at, there's a lot of those guys. you know, they were like, you know that if a strong gust of wind came, they'd blow over, right? They were all ego. There was no substance to them. But yeah, I don't really have too much patience for the gym ego type of stuff. I as you can see from my videos, like I really am myself in there. I like connecting with people. I like people. But there are certain people that they take pride in hating people. They take pride in hating and separating. That kind of stuff sometimes irritates me a little bit. And I've scared a few guys out of the gym. Not on purpose, but just because I interacted with them and they didn't want to be interacted with. So I'd be like, hey, how's it going? How are you? And honestly interested in them, but they didn't want to talk. And then the more nosy I got, the worse the more they hated me, and I almost had fights with guys. Like, so anyway, one guy just left the gym. He's like, that's it, I'm out of here. I'm just gone. He just totally quit his membership and everything because he just didn't really want to talk to me, right? He was just trying to hide from whatever sort of drama he had going on in his life. So anyway, Big and Strong 21 is saying, what do I think of concurrent periodization, like doing heavy one day, then medium weights the next day, then light weights the next day? I suppose the best way to program train. I love that stuff. Big and Strong, as you can see, I always vary up my reps. I like to do heavier weight, and then I like to go lighter weight, and then medium weight. I like to mix that stuff up for sure. But the only thing is with any program, like I say, you pay attention to your body first and foremost. Second of all, you pay attention to the program. Even with my programs, you know, first, your own body's guidance. Second, the program. And if you notice that doing heavy one day and then your body's all sore and your joints are all sore, then that means that maybe it's a good idea for you to say, okay, maybe I need to do an extra light day, you know, or do a light day on my heavy day or something in some cases. So that's something that I would just recommend as well. But I always love it. I love changing the rep ranges up. It's really important to do that. I love that kind of method. That's the only method to me. When should you take aminos? They say during the workout's actually one of the good times to take amino acids for sure, because you're not able to eat at that time, but the amino acids actually get absorbed through your gut, and that helps your body keep from eating its own muscle tissue. Sam East is asking about unnatural training. I try not to answer these questions. I can answer them based on what I've seen with guys in the gym, but it's not like I'm trying to kind of stay away from that kind of crap, because I know YouTube, like I probably have a lot more popular channel if I talked about all the stuff that's really, you know, criminal in some way or controversial or more negative oriented. And I find the unnatural side of the sport is very negative. I don't really like talking about it because that's the part of the sport that I've avoided. I've stayed away from. So that's why I don't talk about that shit too much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I've seen guys like instantaneously, within 2 weeks, their strength goes up through the roof, you know, 10, 20% strength increase, if not more, and their physique changes depending on what they're doing. Yeah, so. Yeah, Perry B, thanks, man. Yeah, my channel's cool because it's positive, but it's also very lonely here. So, I'm just kidding. You know, it would be neat one day when this type of channel is more important for people than the negative side, but it seems like, you know, I guess there's always going to be the National Enquirer side of the internet where people are more drawn to the negative side of things, right? I have never met C.T. Fletcher, but there's something about that guy I like. And I still believe that he's mostly natural. Maybe he wasn't at one time in his life, like he said in his video and stuff. But C.T., there's something nice about that guy. I like him. I like him as a human being, you know what I mean? And he's got a heart of a lion. I really feel that with him. So when people hate on C.T. and stuff, that's why I made that video, is C.T. natural or not? Because I wanted to talk positively about him because there was so much negativity going towards the guy, but he's just being himself, and I feel he's a really nice person. So, yeah, I have nothing but love for that guy, and I've never met him, so I would love to meet him one day. You know, I don't think you'll have time to meet a guy like me, but you know, one day maybe I'll touch base with him. You never know, right? Yeah. Okay. See you, big and strong. See you, buddy. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do a set now, guys. Sorry, I'll do a set here. Okay. All right. I gotta crawl out of that rack because I have to put it so far up against the wall to work. Yeah. Okay. CrossFit is popular. Maybe try that. Yeah, not in a million years there, Noah. Not in a million years, man. That's funny. Jordan Johnson, do diet pills actually help with cutting? It depends what you mean by diet pills. There's stimulant type pills out there and stuff like that, which could help, but I wouldn't recommend them because they have other side effects, right? Just like anything. Yeah, James Cowan. When you start listening to your own body, you start to work with your own rhythm that goes on in there. So by doing that, you will automatically be in harmony with what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like eating when you're hungry, breathing when you need to breathe, like I'm doing now. These are natural processes that when you learn to work with them, you can actually cause the body to respond better. So how long do I stay at the gym for one session? Usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. French Bastard, how are you, buddy? You've been commenting on my channel quite a bit. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for trying to increase that engagement on my channel just to be a nice guy. So thanks. Sam East, what do I think about doctors putting 20 to 30-year-olds on TRT? I understand some people really need it, but it's become really popular. Docs seem to be handed out like sweeties, right? I totally disagree with it. I think it's actually stupid what doctors are doing, but most of what doctors do I think is stupid, honestly. Most of them are just glorified drug dealers that try to basically prescribe pharmaceuticals and stuff to people that don't need it. You know, in some cases, maybe it's necessary, some cases, but I think the amount of cases that it's necessary are far less than what's being taught to them, you know. So they're a victim, though. The doctors are victims of their education, right? They're also victims of the board. They are accountable to a board, a medical board, which tells them the protocol and how they should act and what they should recommend in any one circumstance. So this is the problem. A doctor is really not a doctor. A lot of times they're not able to think on their own or not able to do what they really want to do. Not because they're jerks or anything, but because if they do something that's outside what they're supposed to do, then they can get sued or lose their license. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're not able to act as freely as some people might think. So that's I think a lot of that bureaucracy is kind of influencing. But I would have to say it's not about the doctors that I have any sort of negativity towards. It's more about the system itself. The system itself is not about healing somebody from the inside out. A lot of times it's just about medicating a symptom away. But that symptom is a side effect of something deeper that's going on inside a human being, and that's what needs to be addressed. Not just some sort of drug that just gets rid of the symptom, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah, James Cowan, you're 52 and have learned that walking and diet can increase your testosterone levels. Well, the funny thing is, I mean, they're Qigong masters. You know, guys doing Qigong and Tai Chi. You know, these guys are like almost immortal doing Kung Fu when they're 90. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not doing some sort of testosterone enhancement. You know, so it's your own health is what it has to do with the balance inside. And if your body's out of balance, that means your health is out of balance. It means you have toxicity in you. And yeah, we're fighting toxins a lot. So I think it's a lot of these drugs that are being prescribed by doctors and stuff have to do with fighting off, like one toxin fights off the toxin of another, you know what I'm saying? But it's not about it being overall better for you and creating more balance in your body. So, but that's my opinion, whatever. I mean, nobody cares about what I have to say, but the bottom line is that I don't ever want to do that. I never will go on drugs. I will die first. I do not want to do drugs of any kind, period. Unless, of course, it's an antibiotic or something like that because I have an infection or something that happens, that's when those types of substances make sense. You know what I'm saying? When it's a medicine short term, but not a lifestyle choice medicine. In that case, I don't agree with it. Now, in a diabetic sort of situation, that's another thing. In that moment, they have to use that medicine to keep from dying. I totally agree with that. Then I think, hey, science and medicine has really succeeded there. But when it comes down to doing something just to get rid of a symptom, and it has nothing to do with really death or anything, then I think that you're better off finding the source of the problem. That's all. You're better off, and then healing that or finding some holistic way to deal with that. Rudigo Bujalop. You're doing a sort of hating, trolling thing right here. But I'm just going to find out, okay, who are you? You're saying, I seem like a stand-up guy, but why am I making a joke of myself? What do you mean by joke of myself? What are you talking about? Are you going to elaborate on that? Do you want to have a real conversation, or are you going to insult me? What do you want to do here? Okay, he's not answering yet. He's not answering. Okay. I'll wait till he answers. All right, so somebody's asking me, do I even go to FIBO, Mr. Olympia, or Arnold Classic? No, I mean, that's, first of all, you gotta pay for the flight. I gotta go down to the States and everything. It's really not worth it for me to go down there, so. Yeah, there's no reason for me to go, right? I mean, it's not like there are people waiting to see me or something. So, yeah, no, I don't usually go to any of those types of things. There's a local bodybuilding show right now, the BC's, and I didn't bother going to that either. So, yeah, I'm not too much in the scene as far as the whole bodybuilding scene, although I like a lot of the people in the natural bodybuilding. There's a lot of nice people in the whole fitness community, period. But yeah, I haven't really made it a priority. Crimestein, what do you think about weight gainer shakes if you don't have time to eat all day? I would say if you have a really fast metabolism, then maybe weight gainer shakes are okay. But I just mostly stick to protein shakes in most cases. If you have a tendency to put on body fat, I'd stick to protein shakes and then have some food in there. But if you're in a very labor-intensive job where you're burning a lot of calories all the time, then I would say a weight gainer shake might be the answer for you. Crimestein, I go to see you in Ohio. Yeah, well, you know, seeing as I only have 6,300 subscribers on this channel, and probably only about a few hundred that are really active that would actually go to see me. Even if I had that, I'd be lucky. But yeah, one of these days I might do some sort of expo of some sort at Murph's Gym here in Chilliwack. So I get people to, you know, fly up here and we do some sort of workout or some sort of, you know, workout weekend or something like that. I think that would be a great idea at one point, you know. I think that would be fun. So yeah, as this channel grows, then that's definitely a possibility. Okay, let me see here. Good, okay, I'm gonna do a set here. Last set of these, last set. Good. Here we go. Gallant, do you even eat the Cypriot halloumi? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. How many sets did I do? I did about 5, I think. Cameron Schul, how would you build your physique during a growth spurt? I'm assuming that you're a teenager or young man and you're still growing. I would say just be careful with the heavy weight. If you're going through a growth spurt, stick to a little bit of a lighter weight, say sets of 15 to 20 reps, especially when it comes down to lower back type movements, because as your body grows, the space between the joints will change and stuff, and there's a new equilibrium that has to be reset. And during that time, you will be more prone to injury. So you want to make sure you're more conservative when it comes down to the rep ranges you're using, because if you use too heavy, you'll injure yourself. So that's one thing I'd recommend. But basically, the way I train and the way I train people automatically takes that into account anyway, because if you're listening to your body on a day-to-day basis, and you know that you feel a little shaky or off balance, that wouldn't be a good day to go super heavy, right? Hulk Hogan's, any reason why you don't bring the bar to your chest at an incline? I'm not doing incline on this, and this is actually shoulder press. So although I'm leaning back a little bit, it's not really an incline, it's more shoulder press. And the fact is, touching your chest, it's not like I have a shoulder problem, it's just that when you touch your chest, you're actually overextending, overstretching the shoulder joints. It doesn't actually stretch my chest out anymore. It actually just overstretches the front delt. Derek P, ever use fractional plates? No. Yeah, and the thing is, I do touch my chest on flat. Lately I've been doing that, and I enjoy it, but it does change the whole movement. So sometimes it's actually easier touching your chest, and I talked about this in one of my videos lately this last week, because when you touch your chest, you're actually stopping the momentum with the chest bone, right? The sternum, the bar's hitting the sternum. And that sometimes will take some of the stress off the muscle, which could be safer for the muscle in some cases because you're actually relaxing a bit and you're not actually, the most amount of force on the muscle is when you come down and then you stop and then go back up again. That's when the most amount of force, because you're fighting the momentum along with the weight, right? So weight plus momentum. So a lot of that momentum gets stopped when the bar hits the chest, right? Any mantras for bodybuilding? Crimestein. Any mantras for bodybuilding? Yeah, there is. There are mantras for bodybuilding. 100%. There are mantras for bodybuilding. Astrological mantras for bodybuilding that help with tendon, ligament, and muscle growth. And they're Sanskrit, and they do work. So, yeah, 100% there are mantras for that. Cameron D, how you doing, buddy? Rishabh Jain, sir, any advice to a novice who is trying to reach his first 225-pound bench? Well, follow my videos, follow my advice. Stick with the reps that I talk about, and then you do different rep ranges for different periods of time. So, Jerry Cantu, I have my mantras on my other channel, Jason J. Gallant. That's my other spiritual channel with meditation, enlightenment, and stuff, and there are mantras there. And so, yeah, basically stick to the advice that I give you. There are a lot of other channels out there that I'm sure are really relevant as well. But doing pyramid type training, 5x5 type training is good for gaining muscle. Or doing training, like I recommend 5x7 training or 7x7 training sometimes. Basically doing heavier weights but not going to failure, doing the powerlifting type of training along with the bodybuilding type training will help you gain the strength and the coordination necessary to start using 225 on the bench instead of just, the lower weight. So yeah, gaining strength is like that. So you want to do the heavy days and the lighter days, and there is a science to that. And I do talk about it in all my workout vlogs, so please watch my workout vlogs. You'll get a lot of information on there. Jim Dano, hey, do I ever do T-bar rows? Actually, you know what? I haven't done T-bar rows for a long time. I don't really like them that much. I find bringing the arms in and kind of pull it to my waist like this, almost like I do this. It's like keeps my shoulders forward. I don't know. I don't really like it too much. I find when my arms or my hands are slightly out to the side, I actually hit my lats better. But yeah, some people love them. Some people love the T-bar rows. But you know why I think some people love the T-bar rows? Because of this so worried about what most people think. I think with the T-bar row, because the bar is hooked up on the wall like this, then the person actually stands a little bit more straight up and down, and then they're pulling to the waist finally, and they're doing the T-bar row basically how they should be doing the bent over row. But because some people out there saying, oh, you have to bend over all the way, a lot of times people find that bent over row, their lower back is dying long before their lats do because they're doing it properly, right? And the T-bar row allows them to do it in a way that their lower back doesn't die first, right? So I think if you actually do barbell rows like T-bar rows, you probably wouldn't feel the need to do T-bar rows. There's a possibility of that. I'm not saying you can't do T-bars. T-bars are great, but I'm just saying that sometimes I think this is what's going on with a lot of people. I think there's a whole gym psychology going on out there instead of Hulk Hogan, German volume training. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Basement gains, pistol squats. I really don't see too much use for them. The thing is, it might bring up your medialis in your knee. It might be good for certain sports, but I find it's more of an unnatural way to lift. With your quads. It puts a lot of pressure on the knees, and for my knees, it wouldn't be good for my knees. But, again, I'm all about you training in the way that's right for your body, okay? So I'm not saying not to do them. I'm saying pushing off the knees is going to cause more of a quadricep type pushing instead of a hamstring butt pushing, and that seems to be more of a natural way for the body to push with legs, right? Crimestein, can you buy mala beads from me? That'd be sweet. I make my own malas, yeah. I make my own malas, but I haven't made any lately. But yeah, one of these days maybe I'll sell some. I have a couple friends that make them actually. Maybe I'll sell some of those in the future. Yeah. Do you think rowing exercise or deadlifts, hip hinging movements are better for building back thickness? Okay, I think rowing exercises are better for building back overall, but if you're talking specifically about the trap, I'd say anything where you're pulling heavy weight, where the shoulders come forward like this and then have to come back, anytime this is happening with heavy weight, that's gonna be better for overall trap development. But the thing is, if you do the bent over row properly, like I talk about in how to build, like secrets to training back, what'll happen is that this is automatically happening with heavy weight. So the hip hinging movement isn't necessary as the only way to hit the traps, you know what I'm saying? So if you're doing back properly, you will actually be hitting the thickness with your rowing movements as well. It's just that a lot of people, when they row, they do this, you know, they twist and stuff. They're not actually working their back, or they're doing this, you know what I mean? Like they're not actually trying to pull with this. They're not pulling with the back properly, so that's why they're not getting thickness from it. If you could only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life, what would they be? I'd say squats, bent over rows, and bench. That's probably what I would do, yeah. Cameron D, when I'm leaning out, do I gauge my progress based on a particular weight on a scale? Or do I look in the mirror instead? I actually use the mirror. I use the mirror totally. The scale doesn't really play too much of a factor in it. Antrius G is saying, what is the best exercise for getting a smaller waist? I would say just cutting body fat. It's not really about an exercise. It's more about just cutting body fat. It's going to be more about your diet than it is about an exercise, to tell you the truth. One man band, I talked about box squats earlier. I don't know why everybody's on the box squats today. Everybody's on box squats. I don't really like box squats, but if you want to rewind this video to the beginning, you'll actually get the answer on that why. I think it can be good to teach people as a tutorial in the beginning for squatting, but it's not necessarily something that I ever do ever again after that. Yeah. Okay, so Cameron Schul is asking, what would I consider to be the best way to grow stubborn triceps? Lift heavy or work the long head of the triceps a lot? Is there a better way that you can recommend? Okay, I find stretching the long head, so bringing the arm back and stretching the long head seems to be the best way to do it. Most people get stuck in just doing these types of movements, and you will work the outer head for sure, but I find the stretch of the long head seems to be the biggest part of the tricep, for me anyway, I feel that. And when you keep the elbows in and stretch back, and then keep the elbows back as you extend the arm, it seems to be much better for building bigger triceps. And I do this on the incline, the flat, and overhead. Like I'm not, you know, but I don't really like the overhead one as much. I like to actually lean on an incline. It's easier on the elbows. Hey, Chase Taylor, you're saying thoughts on shrugs. Hey, I thought you never watched my how to build big traps, did you? Did you watch that one? Did you watch my video on how to build traps? Okay, I'm gonna do a set of lateral raises. All right, you guys, just have to bear with me here. Actually, I'm gonna turn the whole thing here. 1 second. All right, let's do this. See how this works. I don't shrug. You're right. I don't really shrug. Okay. Let me do this. Change this around. I'm pretty versatile. Oh, okay. I do rows, yeah, and they hit traps, but no, shrugs don't work as good as rows. I don't think so, not for overall back development. And for me with shrugs, it depends on how you're built too. Again, everything I say, it's always about how you're built. But for me, when I did shrugs, I found that doing this, I strained more of the neck muscles than I really got a lot of trap development, although I get a bit of a burn in there, but I find that you will build bigger traps probably by lifting heavy weight. If you want to do shrugs, what you do is you do super heavy weight and keep tight, but let the weight hang there, and then do shrugs. Even if they're small, you will build some traps from that. But I always found that I want to use my energy in the gym to hit as many muscles as I can and not become too much of a specialist. Let's put it that way. And I find when I did a bent over dumbbell row or bent over barbell row, I could hit the traps at the same time. Along with doing shoulder presses, I could still, shoulder presses or lateral raises, I'm still hitting the traps. Like right now I feel my traps from doing the lateral raise, right? So I found that shrugs were an unnecessary addition to my workout, but some people might be different, right? So you have to kind of take that into account. Oh God, okay, Rudigo, here you go. Yeah, Rudigo, you don't know me, so buddy, I am Lifetime Natural. I've been Lifetime Natural my whole life. I have 10 polygraph tests to prove it, along with urine tests and a random urine test, and a whole slew of people that know me personally that would attest to it, including girlfriends that lived with me and whatever. So honestly, I know it's hard for you to believe because you might be a bit of a person that doesn't understand what you're saying right now and you don't understand the level of ignorance that you have. But I'm telling you right now that you can gain muscle from training. People were doing it. The Sandows of the world were doing it. Steve Reeves was doing it. People have been doing it since the dawn of time. So the fact is that I don't look better than these people. And this is the thing. You have to believe in yourself. You can't just think that everybody that looks and put on some muscle must be unnatural, right? The thing is, if you're around a bunch of people that have never put on muscle, though, it might seem really weird to you. But you got to remember, I grew up around this shit. I was born in the gym. I was initiated in the gym. I was like, when I was 5 years old, I was lifting weights on and off with my dad, just mimicking him as he's lifting weights. So yes, you can put on muscle. You can do this. You can be natural and put on muscle. I mean, I know that there are a lot of drug addicts in the world that just want to believe that everybody's a drug addict, but you're not talking to one right now. Yeah. Big Daddy Barbecue. Yeah, that's right. There was some big guys like Sandow, the guy that did the whole, trophy that the Olympia is based on and whatever. This guy was huge and strong. So, weight training, like, sure, you might not be 300 pounds at 5'4", 4% body fat, but you can get pretty freaking big training. I mean, people have been doing it. Yeah. How often do I go to the gym during the week? I go about 5 times a week, 5 to 6, yeah. Hey, mate, feed, kill, repeat. Nice to see you, buddy. Okay, so Cameron D, you're getting leaner and you've noticed that you've lost some reps with heavier weights. To keep your volume training, should I lower the weight slightly from my heavier body fat weights? Yeah, I always say vary the reps. So, some days you do lighter, some days you do heavier. There's nothing wrong with still going heavy, but realize that what's heavy to you now, it's all about relativity, right? It's all about what's relative. So if you're only getting 4 reps on something, I'd say that's a little bit too extreme. And at the same time, you will notice that sometimes your leg training, I don't know if you have noticed this, but with your leg training, you might not have gone down in strength as much. Sometimes it's upper body, because upper body you're lighter, and then when you're laying on the bench, there's no body weight or body fat to keep you stable, so then you feel the need to stabilize, and you have to do it with your muscles, right, by being relative with the bar. So that sometimes leaches off some of the ability to lift heavier weight. It doesn't mean you got weaker. It just means that you're not stabilized from the body fat, right? Or the body weight itself, So, yeah, so that's why your legs are still strong, because the weight doesn't play as much of a role for some reason, because you can counterbalance a lot with the hamstrings and the lower back and everything. So, yeah, you can lose a lot of body fat, but also it's where the body fat's deposited. A lot of the body fat's deposited on the upper body. So I find that's sometimes where it makes the biggest difference in the strength. Yeah. How long did it take me to reach 225 on the bench from the time I started? Started training when I was 14, really, consistently. And I was doing 225 by the time I was 16 and a half or something like that. Yeah. Do you do leg extensions? No, I don't. I don't like leg extensions. I find them hard on the knees because the hamstrings are active to keep the knee close to the joint, so I don't do them. Is there different meditation techniques? Yes, there is. Okay, I'm going to set up my bench. I'm going to do some triceps, and I'll actually show you how to hit the long head of the triceps. I don't feel like doing any more shoulders. I'm done shoulders here. Mendoza Michael, is there such thing as harmful exercises? Yeah, every exercise can be harmful if you do it wrong, yeah. What do I do for legs? I do Romanian deadlifts, I do squats, I do one-legged squats on the Smith machine or one-legged free weight squats. I do walking lunges, and I do leg curls. I do like leg curls. Although my new gym doesn't really have much of a leg curl machine at this point, but. I do Romanian deadlifts, just so you know, okay? Noah M, can I help you move? Where do you live, Noah? How you doing, Nimble Navigator? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm gonna do a set of triceps here, and then tell me where you live, yeah. Yeah, one-legged squats are hard as hell, you're right. They're awesome. Oh, you live in Chilliwack, Noah? Where are you moving to? Where are you moving to, Noah? Okay, Rudigo, you're an idiot. Rudigo, honestly, man, if you want to connect with me and talk to me like a human being, I could share some wisdom and knowledge with you. And I'm actually a pretty good person to know. But if you just want to be a prick to me, then you can go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying, Rudigo? Like, I mean it, okay? Do you want to connect with me or do you want to be a prick? You can decide. But if you're just going to just be here and slander, like, I don't know what kind of purpose you think that this is going to fulfill for you or for me, or how this is going to help you in your life. Is it helping you in any way by you being a prick right now? Is it? Like, what's it doing? Is it making you really excited? Do you get excited just by being mean to people? Are you one of these bully type people that just likes to slander people for no reason? Is that what you like to do? Do you get off on that? Are you kind of a psychopath of some sort? Seriously, would you talk to me like this if you were in the room with me right now? Probably not. You know why? Because you're probably a coward. And you know what a coward is? Is a person that likes to hate people from a distance but doesn't like to connect to anyone. I'm telling you, there's a lot more joy in connecting to people than just pissing on them. I'm going to tell you that right now. So you can choose. I'm going to give you the option. Okay. Rudigo, thing is, bodybuilding knowledge is not, like, how do you know anything? The thing is, it's so funny. People will say, hey, Jason, are you on heroin? And then I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, that means you use heroin because you said you're not on heroin. That means you know what heroin is. Like, what are you talking about? Like, people know what a bullet is. Just because they're not shooting a gun doesn't mean they don't know what a bullet is. You know what I'm saying? So it's so funny, the logic of some of these retarded people. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for dealing with that, guys. I'm just gonna basically deal with these people here and there. I know people troll me, but you know what? I'm gonna talk to them anyway, because you know what? This is the type of stuff that has to be addressed on the internet. And I am working out, Nimble. I'm working out right now. I'm doing a little bit of working out. I'm gonna do a little bit of triceps here. So long head of triceps right now. Okay, so a lot of people, when they do skull crushers, okay, can you guys see me? Yeah, they do this, right? Elbows towards the ceiling like this. But what I found that takes a little bit of the stress off the elbows and actually hits a little bit more of the long head is when I bring the arm back and then I straighten to here, not straighten to here, you see? So there's a little bit of a difference. And you have to find the sweet spot for you, but this will keep the tension on the long head, and I find it's a little bit better for me to get an overall tricep pump. And then if you want, you can change your form. And then sometimes I'll finish it off with some presses like this, right? Okay. Oh, CD Moonfire, how you doing, buddy? I kind of like some of your guys' names are pretty cool. Oh, thanks, CD. Okay, hey Jay, cracking elbows, painless, while curling dumbbells, a bad sign? No, sometimes if you straighten the arm or you adjust to see my arms hyperextend, that's the way I was born. But basically sometimes you can have the elbows a little bit out of place because the muscles can be tight, so it can pull them slightly out of place a little bit, okay? So That sometimes will play a role in the cracking. But if you do notice that you're doing super extreme skull crushers and stuff like that, I would lessen up your range of motion. Or do what I just did on the incline here. Bring the arm back a little bit so it takes a little bit of the stress off the elbow itself. Any exercises I would recommend not doing. One exercise I would recommend not doing is hack squat. Now, again, this is always based on the individual, but for the most part, when a person stays straight up and down, there's no bending over the waist, and their knees just travel over the toes, there's not as much hamstring activation during that, and I find that that may irritate the knees quite a bit. The other thing is leg extension. I wouldn't recommend really doing leg extension unless you're going to do it super light, because I find that just extending the leg without the hamstring being active, it somehow jams the knee joint a bit. So I think that sometimes can be a little bit hard on there. Now the third one I would say is not really necessary is the front raise. A lot of guys are doing these front raises. I find that jams a lot of the bicep tendon. I find that quite a bit. So you get a lot of front delt work anyway from doing a lot of shoulder presses and bench and everything. So you don't really need to specialize in that in most cases. Now again, always about how you're built, but mostly, yeah. This advice mostly applies. Okay, Static Dreams Entertainment. Do you think boxing 2 to 3 times a week would affect my bodybuilding? Yes, definitely it will. Boxing, like those guys are super cardio athletes. Boxers are just, they got the wickedest awesome cardio and they can hit like lightning and thunder, you know what I'm saying? But by dancing around and doing that cardio, depending, like all that training, it's like really intense cardio. Like you'll never be more motivated to move than when you know this is gonna come and hit you right here. You're never gonna be more motivated. So that really gets the cardio going. And yeah, it will affect your bodybuilding. But you know, you gotta do what makes you happy too, right? Sometimes there's nothing wrong with actually concentrating on different sports for a period of time, then coming back around to bodybuilding. Sometimes you can actually get a rebound sort of thing effect from that. So nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that if you want to try it. Hey, Arrest Cosmos, how you doing? That dude, I heard deadlifts over time will mess up your back. Deadlifts can mess up your back if you're not built for them. That's why I don't bend over all the way for deadlifts. Whereas if I deadlift from the floor, I actually have to bend over way more than, say, another guy with longer arms and stuff and not as long femurs. So basically, it's just not the right movement for me touching the floor with the bar. But if you move and you basically measure the angles of the joints, if you measure the angles of the joints to dictate the range of motion, then you're way better off than saying, oh, where does the bar go on the rack? Because, you know, or a bar should touch the ground or not. Because that doesn't take into account the most important factor, and that's the angle of the joint or what's happening with the hip angle, okay? So yeah, if you do too extreme, it's gonna put an exponential amount of stress on the joint compared to the muscle, and that's not necessarily gonna be a good effect for you, and it can be dangerous on the joints then, right? Boss HKK, train arms once or twice a week? I'd say twice. Robert Brennan, why do powerlifters have less muscle but can lift more weight, and does that mean bodybuilding doesn't increase strength? No, Robert Brennan, powerlifters don't have more strength. They have more strength when it comes down to 3 lifts, but not all lifts, okay? So that's the thing. So you gotta remember, powerlifters are specialists in the 3 lifts, the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press. So it's more about refining that coordination to handle the heavier weight. But if you give a powerlifter a lateral raise, or maybe a bicep curl, or maybe a skull crusher, they're not always stronger than a bodybuilder, to tell you the truth. It's just that a powerlifter wants to have a high strength to weight ratio as well. So they refine the technique around the movement. That's what they are. They're specialists in the technique, but they're not trying to gain more muscle, because gaining more muscle will put them up a weight division in a lot of cases too. Mate, feed, kill, repeat. Getting forearm pain while doing dumbbell workouts. Any advice? Massage therapy in here. Massage therapy in here, okay? In here, all this. Also in the arm, like the brachialis, you might be having some referral of pain down through the forearm. And in here, okay? All in here, massage therapy. That should help quite a bit if you're getting forearm pain, right? Okay, I'm gonna do one more set here. I'm gonna do lighter though. Sometimes I like lighter weight on the tricep. So I've talked about this in my videos about doing heavier weight. And you wanna get stronger, but the thing is you will notice with isometrics and certain movements that you know, the actual exercise changes if you go too heavy. So you want to change the technique. You want to do the technique that's actually going to hit the body part you want to hit as well, right? So Okay, here we are. Okay, see, look at this. Oh, the little negative guy. The negative guy is all back. Okay, so you have pain in your left shoulder. Should you leave barbell chest press alone? Yeah, I would leave anything that hurts the shoulder alone for a bit, but like I always recommend, get some massage therapy, get it looked at to see if the muscles are actually functioning right. Because if you have a tight rotator cuff muscle, one of these muscles not doing their job, then the joint will jam a bit and then you may get some pain, right? So you want to make sure that all the stabilizer muscles, everything's functioning right. So it doesn't necessarily mean your shoulder's messed up, it just means that there's a possibility that the muscles that are supposed to stabilize the area are not doing their job. Okay, 1 second here. That dude, if you're a beginner, should you do just compound, no isolation? I'd say most of your workout should be around compounds, but there's nothing wrong with you doing isolations too. Okay, so French bastard, Jason, is there a reason why you initiate this movement with the shoulders first? What do you mean by initiate with the shoulders first? I just bring the arms up and elbows in, right? I don't know what you mean by that. Robert Brennan, do I think what I talked about with powerlifting versus bodybuilders applies to strongman and strength training also? It does, because strongman training also, it's a heavy lower back and forearm workout mostly, and the front delts too, right? The strongmen specialize in the overall body movements, right? Now there's a bunch of other stuff that they also are involved with as well in that sport that may also influence how their body adapts to, but it is a totally different sport, yeah. Basement gains, am I a fan of face pulls? I'm a fan of doing external rotator cuff bent over lateral raises, and it's similar to a face pull because face pulls like this, but I don't really do face pulls that often. But I should do them actually. I've barely ever done them actually, but I do like them. Okay, so French Bastard saying he means the arms are pulling in like 1 to 2 inches before the elbow flexion. Pulling in, well, do you mean like this? Because I'm trying to basically keep the elbows in because that helps the tension stay on the tricep when I'm doing the skull crusher. Bad screen name, if you have pain due to dumbbell overhead tricep heavyweight, so you're saying like this, I would avoid doing overhead tricep extensions unless you're sticking to rep ranges of at least 15 to 25 reps. And the reason why is because the way the weight is, it's very hard on the elbow. It's kind of like doing a squat but off your toes instead of off your heels, right? We know how hard that would be on the knees. It's kind of the same way with this. I find with everybody I've ever dealt with, they all deal with the same thing. They all get elbow pain if they start going 5 reps or 8 reps with this type of movement. It really causes a lot of stress on the tricep, so, and on the elbow, I mean. So it's too. So that dude's asking, do I only do Romanian deadlifts, not regular deadlifts? Yes, I only do Romanian. I used to do regular deadlifts here and there, but I found that I'm getting more, not more muscular pain from the deadlift because, like I said, it was just an exponential amount of extra stress on the lower back that wasn't needed based on how I'm built, right? It might be different for you, but for me, I found that actually it's harder to do a Romanian deadlift because you're keeping constant tension on the muscles, which is what I want. I don't want the floor to stop the weight. I want the tension to stay on the muscles so that way my hamstring and my lower back really adapt to the exercise. But I find taking the tension off and putting it on, taking it off, it's more harder on the joint. At the same time as the range of motion is more extreme for me and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the right thing. Okay, I'm gonna do one more set here. See, I'm trying to get that extra stretch, see? I'm trying to get the stretch. So yeah, my arm will come forward, but I'm getting the stretch. See, and sometimes to get a couple extra reps, you want to use the momentum of the arm here like this, and you get a couple extra ones, right? Once the tricep starts to die, so that'll help you push deeper into failure, right? Okay, Jerry Cantu. No, I haven't seen Elliot Hulse's thing, so yeah. Nimble Navigator. The difference between a strongman and a powerlifter is a powerlifter just does the bench press, deadlift, and squat as their movement. Strong men do all this sort of things like car lifting and, you know, the log above the head and carrying barrels and putting big stones on top of things and stuff like that. So strong men are more kind of, they're more well-rounded for sure, but yeah, I mean, strength is strength. I mean, these guys, powerlifters are very strong too with the lower back and everything, the hips, they got all that special skill in that area, right? So yeah, the difference is just the movements that they choose to specialize in. Yeah, French Bastard, have I ever heard of the rock back method to engage the hamstrings? Yes, I have, yeah. Yeah, I have heard of that. It's just basically getting your mind around the fact of how to fire the hamstrings. Another way to do it is when you do a Romanian deadlift is that you focus on pushing the heels towards the wall behind you, and that helps you understand how to fire the hamstrings. Yeah, bad screen name. You mean one arm dumbbell extension above the head? If you mean this, it's the same thing. It's still just as hard on the elbow, just so you know, if not harder on the shoulder and the elbow. So I would avoid it, especially with doing heavyweight in it anyway. That dude, you hate chin-ups, you get elbow pain. If you're getting elbow pain from chin-ups, it might be a rotator cuff thing or a subscapularis thing going on where when you hang, you also don't want to ever lock their arms out. If you're hanging on the elbows, like you see all these CrossFitters do, or these people in the gym where they want to take a rest and hang on the elbows, you always want to keep the arms slightly bent. If you're hanging on the elbows, you will kill and destroy your elbows, 100%. That dude, do I hit calves every leg workout? I hit calves a couple times a week. I don't hit them every leg workout, but I hit them, you know, I've been only focusing on really doing them that hard again this last couple months, but usually I do them on the leg workouts, or sometimes I'll do them on a chest workout just at the end. Jericantu, turtleback. What do you mean turtleback, huh? What are you talking about? A turtleback would be like this. That's a turtleback. Crimestein, your biceps are stronger than your triceps. What are you doing wrong? Well, that's actually pretty normal. It's pretty normal because you're used to lifting stuff your whole life like this, like lifting your purse. No, I'm just kidding. But like lifting boxes or whatever, or lifting things in front of you, right? But how often do you actually push things? You know, you're not on a daily basis doing this, right? So this is why. So that's why your biceps will naturally be stronger, because you have a better mind-muscle connection with that area. That's all. So it's totally normal what you're experiencing. So sorry, I had to get that shot in there. I was just joking. I was just kidding, man. Seriously. Okay. What's my split, that dude? What's my split? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? No, my split is a 2-day split. That's mostly what I'm doing right now. But lately I've been doing some chest, back, and leg stuff. So I switch things up all the time. So most of the time I do a 2-day split where I have it on my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. You want to go purchase the 2-day split, A program, B program, C program. There's a bunch of programs there. But basically that split is what I stick to, something or a hybrid of that, right? So what I'm doing is that, and then I will, the odd day, do a whole body workout or do a chest, back, and legs workout, get the real main muscle groups in. Because you get a little bit of arms when you're doing chest and back, and you get a lot of lower back and everything when you're doing legs and stuff. So I find that chest, back, and legs are really the pyramid or the foundation of the bodybuilding training anyway, right? Kung Fu has a turtleback. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so French Master's trying to give some advice on something, but I might be correcting him here. Just let me just check what he's saying. Okay. Yeah. French Master, the only thing I would say, never keep your legs straight and stiff. Never, never, never straighten them. Never straighten your legs straight and stiff. When squatting, you're going to get the ostrich phenomenon where you're going to mess your knees up, or your popliteus muscle behind the knee, that you might screw that up. You may get some ligament problems. Also with Romanian deadlifts and stuff, like I've seen guys actually tear hamstrings from doing stiff-legged deadlifts, so I don't believe in stiff-legged. I think you should always keep the knees slightly bent whenever you're doing a Romanian deadlift, so no stiffy. That's not good on the legs. Okay. Bad screener, can you build big quads and legs with lighter weights and higher reps and squats? It depends on what type of reps you're talking about. If you're talking about 300 reps, I would say no. But if you're talking about sets of 40 and 30, I think you could build some pretty decent legs like that. Rumina Tatarlaka, you don't see my question, Gallant. I don't know what the question is, sorry. Let me just, I'll go up here and see if I can find it. Thoughts on swinging when doing the standing barbell curl? I think swinging a bit is necessary, especially when you're using heavier weight. Like a lot of times people online, right, where they see somebody, they do a super strict curl and they're like, oh my God, what an amazing curl. The person's so, they don't even move at all. Well, it's all going to be based on relativity, right? So if I'm a 100-pound person and I'm lifting 100 pounds, that weight's going to move me a bit. And I'm going to have to counterbalance in order to be able to stay straight up on my feet. Otherwise, the weight will pull me right over onto the ground or whatever. So there is a certain amount of counterbalance that goes on. And then there's also a point of being too strict. And if you're too strict, what will happen is that you won't be able to actually lift the weight by keeping the stress on here. It's almost like the starting of the momentum is going to be more of an impediment to actually having the exercise go. So what I'm saying is that you won't be keeping the stress on the muscle. You'll be taking on and off, on and off, on and off. So I find that you want to keep the stress on the muscle. And sometimes a little bit of a swing is a good way to do it. I always keep my arms slightly bent as well. So I'm curling like this. So yeah, I'll swing a little bit because I'm trying to keep that momentum going and keep that activity of the bicep going. But if I go too strict, what will happen is it takes the stress off the bicep and then puts it onto the forearm and vice versa, right? So. I would say what Shakti Shaker is saying there, Victor. It's good to get the protein and carbs in right away after the workout, if you can. Yeah, Rumina Tatarlaka. Yeah, many people say strict completely, but usually they don't have the best looking arms. So I would say they're pretty much wrong. Because I find even when I'm doing, if you go too strict, it takes the tension off the bicep and then other muscles come into account. So I find when I go too strict, it's almost like I'm fighting something else, and it's hard for you to describe, but the bottom line is that it's not keeping the tension on the actual brachii. I find that it's transferring to other places because I have to load up the muscle. The other thing is when the muscle's loaded up, like for instance, I have the tension on here, the muscle crosses the shoulder joint, and then everything is tense and stable, right? So when this is stable, then I can continue the movement. But if I relax at the bottom, or if I extend too much, sometimes this will change how the shoulder joint is sitting, and then that will cause the stress to change and go somewhere else. So these are also all little physical sort of things that happen that are that have to be taken into account when it comes down to really training a certain muscle group or keeping the tension on that muscle group. Black block. I don't know what you're talking about. Just use. You're saying that it looks like I just used cocaine. What are you talking about? Cameron Schul, what's the best way to build large, wide shoulders? Also, how do you keep yourself from looking like Michelin Man, soft and chubby? Well, you eat right, Cameron. You have to learn how to eat. If you're eating carbs and fats all the time, you will look like you will look like the Michelin Man because you're putting in food in your body where your body's going to store as body fat, right? So yeah, you have to learn your nutrition. You have to eat protein and eat moderately low fat or medium fat if you're doing low carb. Anyway, there's a lot of different types of nutrition advice out there. But the bottom line is there has to be less energy foods taken in so that there's enough to sustain the muscle, but not so much that your body feels the need to store body fat. And you will find this out by changing your eating around and experimenting with your eating, right? So wide shoulders, basically, by training shoulders and by training lifting weights. You know, it's not like just one exercise, like just lateral raises and all of a sudden now you get wide shoulders. It's like doing shoulder press, doing bench press, all these things will contribute to the overall size of the body, right? So I wouldn't recommend just trying to find a way to just do lateral raises and see if that's going to increase your size, because it's like there's a synergistic effect when the whole body gets trained. So sometimes by training legs, sometimes your arms grow, you know, it kind of works like that. My 3-day split on my website, it's there, yes. That dude is my 3-day split on the website. Yes, it is. Is it good? No, it's horrible. I put it on there because it's the worst possible thing anybody can do. And yeah, I think I'm just trying to rob people. That's really what I'm trying to do with that dude. So I think it's pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't put it on there if I thought it was hell. I mean, I thought it was horrible. So I'm not trying to be a smartass here, but it's kind of a question that I think that's what you're going for, right? Just I don't know how you want me to answer that. Anyway, do you want me to come up with a different answer? I don't know. Yeah. Bench press day, Jason Mullen saying, bench press day, heavy farmers carry with dumbbells to finish off shoulders. Yeah, you can do that. No reason why you couldn't there, Jason. Yeah. Why are pull-ups so hard? Because they are hard. They're not easy. You got to pull your whole body weight up. Yeah, they're definitely not easy. But everything is hard until you learn them, until you get in the routine, right? So once you do something, then it becomes easy. And I find the more often you do it, the easier it gets. But at first, it just seems like hell. It's totally hard to do. Do one more set. All right, that's good enough of that. So Rube Dog is saying, I do you. Okay, so he's probably saying, how do you hit the other head of the tricep? This hits the long head, and then basically pressing movements I find hit the outer head a lot. But okay, why don't you fully stretch your arms? I am fully stretching my arms. I don't know what you're talking about. That is a full stretch. That is a full stretch. T, that is a full stretch. Bad Screen Name is saying, if you have a busy working schedule, can you stay big and lean by doing supersets? And shorten your workouts to 1 hour a day? You could basically do supersets and stuff and shorten your workouts, but again, it's still a different type of workout. So you can maintain for a period of time, but you're still gonna have to get in the heavy workouts once in a while too, right? So you won't be able to just superset yourself through it. You do need to do heavier workouts. Rube Dog, how much cardio do I do a week? None. I don't do any cardio. Yeah, Rube Dog, okay. Yeah, no, I don't do any cardio. I just watch what I eat. Cardio's not really necessary to burn body fat, just so you know. You just need a metabolism, and you need to watch what you eat. And different people have different metabolisms, but cardio I find can work against you, especially if you go too extreme with cardio. You can actually burn your muscle off faster than your fat store. So the whole point with bodybuilding is to put on muscle. And when you put on muscle, what happens is that you have more of a metabolism, and then that naturally will burn more fat. So if you're actually watching your diet, not taking in too much fat, then your body will actually burn off the fat that you have stored. Crimestein, you're gonna go the 2-day A program, 2-day A split from my website. Can you continue to use it for longer, 3 weeks? Of course you can, yeah. You can continue to use it for months if you want. Bad screen name, yeah, doing dance, yeah, dance for cardio. Yeah, the odd video I do for, yeah, there is some cardio in that for sure. What are the best exercises for lower back and lower trapezius? I think I'm doing a lot of lower back work when I do the Romanian deadlifts, and I'm doing a lot of lower back work whenever I do bent over rows. And I'm getting the lower trap in there as well from that. So those are my 2 exercises that I really do for those 2 areas. Rube Dog, why do I feel sick when doing heavy legs? Because you're probably eating too much crap. You're probably eating too much crap. That's probably part of it. You're not digesting the food. That's a lot of times what it is. When I was eating crappy food and then going to the gym and training legs, I was always puking in a bucket. So when you're doing, if you're eating the wrong foods before you go to the gym, this will play a big role. So try changing what you eat and see what happens. Now, if that's not the case, then perhaps you're out of shape cardio-wise, and you need to basically do legs more often in a week rather than just doing them once a week or whatever, because it's too extreme. It's like your body's not used to it, right? So that's the other thing. So that's why I went to a higher frequency type training program where I train the legs more often, so that way when I go into the gym, I don't feel like I'm so out of breath and so nauseated when I actually train legs. Okay, so that's another reason. So yeah, try those 2 things and see what happens. If you're gonna do legs that day, make sure your eating is in alignment with, say carbs and protein or carbs and fat all day, but not carbs, fat, and protein together, because you'll find that your digestion will kind of, your blood will be in your stomach basically trying to digest that food, and you'll want to puke your guts out, right? Crimestein, the C program just basically ups the frequency and incorporates a little bit higher frequency, a little bit higher weight here and there, but the A and B programs will also up your strength, just so you know, because it's based on strength, comes mostly from coordination, and as you train the body parts more often, you'll become more coordinated and your strength will go up. So don't, just because you see some higher rep ranges, don't think or underestimate it. I've had a number of people underestimate how hard this is, but if you stick to it and try it for a while, you will notice some results. Will walking a couple miles burn muscle? No, I don't think so. Walking is actually pretty good because it just burns some fat and you're just burning like a slow burn, right? Like a kerosene lamp, you will be burning body fat. But if you just go too hard and burn all your glycogen up, then you won't have it for the gym, and that can burn some muscle off. Okay. All right, so Jason, I have a good rear delt question. Bent over rear delt flies, do you point your pinky knuckles facing each other or pinkies facing out? Actually, when I come down like this and then up, right? Like basically almost like the thumbs like that and then up. That's what I'm doing, the external rotated laterals, okay? Now there's other variations where you go like this, right? And then there's a rotation like this. There's no right or wrong way. Each one will hit different areas. So I'd say experiment with all different ways and see which one you really get that mind-muscle connection with. But I like to experiment with different ones because sometimes you want to feel different parts of the shoulder, different parts of the delt. And sometimes different movements will bring in more trap and more of the rotator cuff as well, right? So it just depends what you're going for. But yeah, I'd vary it up if I were you. French Bastard, what is your best available program for the advanced lifter? I would say my 2-day split programs are the best available programs. From my own experience, for me, the 3-day split program is actually really good too for people that just want more volume in a workout but less frequency. So I can't really say, like I wrote them all out because I think they're all great, to tell you the truth. But basically the A program, if you're not used to doing a 2-day split type program, I really recommend you start with the A and then move to B and then move to C, okay? Because it will get you ready for it and not overwhelm you. Because the first workout, you're like, oh, I'm in and out of here in 45 minutes or something. And then the next workout, you're in and out in 45 minutes. You're like, oh, this is easy. But then the third day, you're still sore. And now you got to get back in the gym and train that same body part again with different exercises. And basically, that might shock your system a little bit too much if you're not used to it. If you go too much volume and too much weight right away, right? Which is why I designed the programs in this order, A, B, and C. Okay, so I would recommend the 2-day split for sure. And start with the A, stick to that for 3 weeks, allow your body to adjust, then go to the B program and C program, right? Okay, if you can't do lunges with medium to heavy dumbbells, is there a way to build strength on that, or should I do lunges with lighter weights, supersets and squats? Okay, I guess big screen name, I have to say, why can't you do them with medium weights? Is it because you just don't know how, or you don't have dumbbells available, or is it because your coordination is off? Like, what is it? If it's that you don't have the weights available, there's nothing wrong with doing high repetition body weight lunges, like you can do, body weight. Walking lunges, body weight, man, it kills. Like you try going 100 meters with walking lunges, I'm telling you, your legs will be on fire. I mean, for those of you guys that don't have a gym available, try doing walking lunges in a field or in a parking lot close to you. And I mean, you won't need anything else. You do 5 sets of that and it'll kill you. I'm telling you, it hurts, it's bad. So, yeah, see you, French bastard. Have a good one, man. So, if you do it after squats and you don't have enough energy to do the medium weight, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing lighter weight. Nothing wrong with that. I would recommend doing it after getting a good leg pump anyway, because then you're applying the stretch and pump principle, right? So your legs are already pumped and now you're stretching them out with that light weight and you'll get some really great results from that. So it's a great way to do it. The Nimble Navigator, what do I think of his macro program? 50% carbs, 40% protein, 10% fats. I think that's pretty good. You might have to go up a little bit higher in the fat. You might, want to stick low like that, because I find I got really good results with really low fat intake with carbs. But you have to go on how your body responds. But I think that's a pretty good place to start. I think it's great. I've seen a lot of guys diet like that and do really well. Oh, Crimestein, thanks for supporting the channel by getting the A program. Yeah, no, great. I'm looking forward to actually hearing how it goes. So make sure in the videos that I put up this week, you let me know how you're doing. And basically what we're gonna do is you can actually ask questions on Saturdays and stuff when I do these live chats as well, okay? So I'm getting messages from my friend at Murph's Gym here. I guess his wife just got her pro card, so congratulations to Angela there. Great. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, I think I answered all your questions today anyway. I think I've pretty much covered it. So if you haven't thumbs up the video yet, please do so. Give a thumbs up to the video if you can. Maybe that helps engagement on YouTube. I don't even know if it even helps or not, but do it anyway, just for fun, just to see what happens. And thanks a lot, Bad Screen Name, for being here, and everybody else. Oh, yeah. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I'm just going to end it here. So I'll see you guys, but I'll be putting a video up tomorrow, and I'm going to be putting up new music and all this kind of stuff. So, all right, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you next week. Or I'll actually see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, man. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? So just tune in tomorrow. And remember, share my stuff. Come on, guys, share my stuff. Come on. Okay, take care. Take care.